Hi everyone, thanks for keeping it here on Everyday Kentucky. We are talking about childhood illness today for your Anthem Medicaid Minute, and Grace Nelson is with us. So what are some of the most common childhood illnesses?
So some of the most common childhood illnesses is like the common cold, the flu, RSV, hand, foot, and mouth, strep throat, types of those common illnesses.
And how do they typically spread? I mean, I have a good guess as a mother.
Yes, so typically they are spread through person-to-person contact by coming into contact with contaminated surfaces, contaminated objects, by sharing of personal objects, personal belongings like towels, cups, eating utensils, and by being in poor ventilated areas.
Yeah, it amazes me, some of the behaviors that you have to correct. I'm not even going to get into some of the examples I could share. But what are some of the steps that we can take to help prevent them ourselves? Because we can teach our kids to do good practices, hand washing and so forth, but what can we as parents do?
So some of the things that we as parents can do is to make sure that we monitor our children for symptoms at home before we send them to school or child care. If a child is sick, of course, make them stay home, isolate them. Of course, keeping up with vaccinations is very important. Making sure that heavily touched surfaces are cleaned, if book bags are cleaned, things like that. And also it's very important to make sure that we are teaching our kids how to properly wash their hands, because hand hygiene can go a long way towards keeping us healthy.
Right.
So it's really important that we teach our kids how to properly do that.
Speaking of hand hygiene, what is the proper way to wash your hands? I can't even believe I'm having to ask this question, but obviously we have had proof that a lot of us aren't so great at remembering exactly what we need to do.
So when it comes to properly washing your hands, we want to make sure that we're using clean running water. It doesn't matter if it's hot or cold, either one, whatever you're comfortable with. And of course, applying plenty of soap. It doesn't even have to be an antibacterial soap, just as long as we're using soap. We want to make sure that we're hitting all the spots on our hands, so the palms of our hands, the backs of each of our hands, in between our fingers.
Yeah.
We want to make sure that we're washing our wrists, because believe it or not, that's the places that germs can hide. Around our thumbs, and then very important, make sure that we are scrubbing our fingernails and the palms of our hands. And it's recommended that we wash our hands for at least 20 seconds. Of course, you can do longer, but for kids, usually, like, we'll tell them, you can count to 20, or you can sing the happy birthday song from start to finish 2 times through. That's about 20 seconds. Some kids will say, well, I'll sing the ABCs, and I'm like, whatever you want to sing, as long as it's for 20 seconds or longer, because some kids are like, oh, I can only wash them for 20 seconds. No, you can wash your hands for longer than 20 seconds, but at least 20 seconds. And then, of course, after we've went through all the steps, we want to make sure that we rinse our hands under clean running water, and then use a clean hand towel or let our hands air dry. Now, I know that we're not always somewhere where soap and water is available, so if that is the case, we can use an alcohol-based hand sanitizer that's at least 60% alcohol to help remove some of the germs on our hands.
I'm just telling you, as a mother, sometimes even after they've washed their hands, I've sit there and watch them wash their hands, I still might use the hand sanitizer because yeah.
Especially if you're in a place where there's a lot of heavily touched surfaces.
Yeah.
So yeah, I get that.
All right, well, for more information, go online and check out their website, and we will see you next time for your Anthem Medicaid Minute.